last night.
I should have had her just print it for everybody. Did we not give you a copy? Oh, no, because we were remote.
Well,
So we can,
okay, Thursday then.
But I got
Yeah,
stuff
because,
now.
I mean, barring
okay.
something
So,
unusual just
Tim,
coming out of the
do you want a
woodwork
paper copy of last
that I gotta deal with
week's,
work-wise,
or
I mean,
did
I,
Kayla already give you one?
What's that?
Of
This.
Is that the same that we got the big one last week?
Yeah,
Or-
it's the one I emailed out, but it was the one we did last week, at last week's meeting. If you want a paper copy,
yeah, that's good,
we'll
then
get
maybe
you
he's
one.
getting interested in playing more.
All right.
Oh, right, okay.
Is that the thing
Perfect.
that came about the PowerPoint? Is that the PowerPoint thing you talked about?
Yeah, this one is because.
Now, I have to ask everybody, because I gotta leave here. I got an 11 o'clock call I've gotta do,
On a chair?
work-wise.
Oh, you did
So-
make a copy?
Good, I'm going over.
Hey, Ted,
Tim.
I have a 11 o'clock work Zoom call. I've gotta be on.
Take your man and I'll take it over.
I mean, we don't even really need to do an executive session today. We can wait till next week.
Okay, well, then we'll just, okay,
I mean, so we've got an executive session on Monday, and then we also have, we can do budget executive session next week, so, yeah, I mean,
so we'll just have a hard stop just before 11.
Yeah, okay, I mean,
What?
because I gotta, I actually probably need to leave probably 10 of, because I've gotta get on and
you
off
just put your stuff on top of Janet's invisible friend.
So,
When you leave, you need to leave.
okay, it'll be 10, about 10 of 11.
Then we will.
What's he saying, he has to leave?
Okay, I just wanted to give
He
that
said
heads
he
up.
has a hard.
I tried to move it, but I couldn't. Yeah.
Hard
Yep.
stop.
It's like you're pushing summer there.
Okay, okay.
I'm trying to say, it says it's gonna go to 60 today.
Yes.
I'm gonna flirt with disaster.
You know, we're gonna have beautiful weather for tomorrow's dedication.
Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be good. Then it's gonna snow on
This, well,
Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
we don't say such things.
Well, they're saying only 2 inches.
Wait a minute,
With
what's
dedication.
tomorrow?
The clock on
Oh, the
7th
clock,
Street?
yes, that's right, they said the 14th. What time is that?
I didn't know about that.
Oh, what time? The
3:30?
clock dedication tomorrow is at 2, right?
I think it's 3:30.
Oh, it's at 3:30? Oh,
3:30.
I told my husband it was at 2.
No, it's 3:30.
Well, just have them go take you to lunch, honey. You know
Have
how
it
that
take a
works.
longer bike ride.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get started here. Are we, everybody's here?
Come to
and,
my office,
do we
I
have
always have
anybody in Zoom? Do we have any attendees?
We have 2.
Okay, so who do we have in attendees, just so we know?
Bonnie Osler and Sue Ann.
Okay, great. All right, so it is February 11th, and we are here for the second of a series of budget hearings. And this morning, we're going to hear from various departments within the city, and we thank everybody from the various departments for coming and bringing their proposed budgets. So I think we would like to keep this thing moving along. So, Anne Marie, or Lorraine, we're going to start with, which one do you want to start with?
Well, yeah, we can go in the order on the agenda.
Okay.
I need to go grab something.
Okay,
Never mind.
so Rick, looks like you're
on
up.
my agenda on this.
Mayor, I think you might just need it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
It's still, it's,
And we can still operate off of the same one you gave last week.
yeah,
No
I'm
changes?
not making any changes.
Because he's gonna be doing
Save a tree.
streets.
And then what do we do? Tell me,
Okay, thanks, guys.
You wanna pull?
Rick and Penny, I think you know everybody, so
give us some minutes.
thank you. And by the way, before we get started,
There should be enough
you
alphabet.
guys did a terrific job with the snow removal.
Amen.
You know, and I think I've got
Yeah.
a lot of compliments from
Yeah.
people throughout town, and you guys did a terrific job.
Yeah.
Thank you, and if I can add on to that too, I know we were all here overnight,
We'll tell you.
and then Kenny and Joey from the Board of Public Works, they stayed, especially with the wind, they did an excellent job. And then everybody came back on Sunday, and then the Board of Public Works actually helped us out on Monday again. So I thanked Austin, I want to thank everybody again, thank Board of Public Works for their help. These guys did a great job.
Well, it was for you guys, it was a 3 or 4 day event, so
Yes.
we appreciate all your efforts. Thank you.
Just so everybody's on the same page, literally, this budget is on page 7.
Thank you.
And I will point out that there was there was a letter to the editor recognizing.
Yep, today, I saw that.
Yes, so.
Well, I'll get my paper tomorrow.
Okay, so Bonnie says there's no.
You gotta cancel that.
I'm canceling it. I'm the only one who gets the
All right.
paper the next day.
All right. Floor is yours, guys.
All news is relatively old, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
In this town.
Yeah, there's a typo in the thing about the Missvillian Lighthouse.
So can we hold off just a second before we start? I just got a text from Bonnie saying that there's no audio
Oh,
on
okay.
Zoom, so she's checking with Sue Ann. Is Sue Ann still on?
Yeah, Savannah's still on.
Okay.
Shelby's on now too.
Sue Ann, if you can hear us, would you put your hand up?
Thanks, honey. Ooh, an extra one.
Yeah.
You're looking at.
Oh, she says it's working now, but it's faint.
We always have trouble with the audio.
Okay.
For some reason, you're.
All right, but I was on. I had it on and then I must have hit something. Thank you.
All right, I think we're good.
I think we're good to go. So, Rick, are you gonna go first, or is Kenny gonna go first, or you guys do tag team here?
Well, I'm gonna go first and pass it to him.
Okay,
This is first time here live. in front of
okay,
you guys.
perfect.
A training opportunity.
Throw him into the deep end.
Can you tell us evaluation time? I'm just making sure.
Well played.
Well, I guess we're gonna make this short and sweet. One of the first things, you got this up here?
Yep.
Pictures?
You want the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay,
Which picture do you
so
want?
which picture do you want
Which one you
first?
wanna start off?
Start
Yeah.
with the first picture.
Which-
The mini skid.
Yeah, the skid steer there. There you go.
Okay,
That machine you have up there, the skid steer, is something that we're putting in for it, and I'm gonna let Kenny discuss it.
So that there is considered.
To the
a mini-
mic, please, sorry.
So that there is considered a mini skid.
Mike's not on,
Uh-oh.
That one doesn't light up.
doesn't it? Okay, all right.
It's green down here at the bottom.
Okay, perfect. All right.
So, as I was saying, that's considered a mini skid out there in the field. We call it a dingo. That there is good for when we cut the marsh and stuff. Normally we rent it every time we go out and cut the frag and stuff like that. So what we're trying to eliminate is having to rent the machine all the time. This machine actually has a bunch of different attachments that go with it. As on my quote sheet that I got attachments for, a bucket that comes with the machine. It has a small broom that we can use up at the beach parking lot, sidewalks, stuff like that. The mini mower that goes on it, and we would use that for out in the frag. And then we have a set of pallet forks. So if we get a delivery, like say benches and stuff like that.
A clock.
Yeah, or that, and need to deliver it down to the parks and stuff, instead of taking the forklift that can't go through all terrain stuff, the big tractor, so we're not damaging anything. This one here, we're looking at, it's actually considered a diesel motor that's in it. It's gonna run a lot better. It's gonna last longer. We're gonna get a longer life out of it. When we rented it last time for Gills Neck Road, when we did the work out there, it worked out great, saved us a bunch of time, but the only thing is we have to keep renting it.
Right.
So if we can eliminate costing the city to rent something every time we need it and have it on hand, that would be great.
We took it up to the beach also.
I was gonna ask.
Sidewalk.
I was gonna ask-
It works on sand? You
Yeah.
can- it would go on
Yeah.
sand?
So, and the other thing is too, that I did not put on the quote, but down the road, when I actually made the quote, I didn't ask for a snow blade for it.
Yeah, you
because
should.
We haven't had snow in 3 years, so I didn't ask for I didn't get a quote on it.
Let's
but
get a quote on it.
Yeah, it's something that we would wanna get in hand to
Yeah, easier to
with that.
decide streets.
Yeah, so
Little
when
spots.
we could
On
use
the
it.
trail.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could use it on, like, say, Second Street, 1812 parking lot, the sidewalks in the parks and stuff like that. So it's a lot of, this machine here would do a lot of different work besides just doing the frag. We would use it pretty much when we go and clean up the beach parking lot.
Good.
Anytime we can get into a park, like, I know Janet has a Canal Front Park that needs mulch brought in. Our equipment is just too big to actually be able to turn and dump the mulch in the playground, so.
It's a multitask
Yes,
thing, though.
and I was telling Rick this morning, there's actually a lot more attachments for it. Take for instance, there's a snow blower, there's an auger, there's a trencher, there's multiple different things that you can put on this piece of equipment.
So you could rent it to the BPW for auging and
Yeah,
trenching.
yeah, we could come up with a deal with, you know, if they needed it, just like they help us, so.
What is the, when you say you rent this piece of equipment, what is the cost, please?
Normally, I think when, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I think when we rented it last time for a whole week for the frag, for the machine itself, I think it was like $500 and some dollars. And then we had to rent the mini mower, and that there was, I think, additional $300.
Wow.
So you're looking at like close to $800 for a
What
week.
is the cost of this piece of equipment?
This piece of equipment here with everything, it comes out to being like $41,000
Okay.
with all the attachments and everything.
But then you need to get the snow blade, so.
Yeah, I didn't add the snow blade, but I can go back and get a quote on that.
All right.
And
Maybe they
get
throw
more
it in.
information on other attachments for it.
2 questions for you. That is a ride behind, you ride, there's a platform in the back for the
Yes.
operator, okay?
Yes.
And do you have interior storage for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think this is a piece of equipment that needs to have something inside when it's not in use.
Yes. And then the one thing I can say about on the back side where the operator stands, it has cushions on both sides and in the front. So when the operator's standing there, it doesn't bounce them around, they're not hitting bare metal.
That's good.
And the platform is actually a safety feature, so if the operator steps off the machine,
It stops.
the machine completely. It keeps it running, but you're not allowed to do any functions with it.
Okay, good.
I have a question for you, Kenny. Have you used this equipment before you worked for the city, or have you had enough experience working with it here in the city?
Yes, I actually rented it for my own business quite a few times. I've used it for doing driveways and stuff like that. They're very easy to operate. Most of my guys that are down there with us, they can get on it. They just need a little bit of time to practice on it.
Sure.
But they can get the hang of it very easily.
Where I was going with this is, what is the useful life of a piece of equipment like this?
With this machine here, we can get anywhere between 15 years out of it for what we're going to be doing with it. It's not like it's going to be used every single day, but it's going to be used quite a bit, just like our front end loader. It's going to last us for a long time because we're going to keep it maintained. It's going to be inside. When it comes off of any job, it's going to get sprayed down, checked over, and stuff like that.
I was going to ask a similar question to Tim's. What kind of maintenance is required?
So normally the maintenance on these here, it's you're every 3,000 hours.
Right.
You're normally, what you go off your first one when you first get it is 50-hour break-in period. So that after 50 hours you change the oil, you check your hydraulic fluid, you check your antifreeze, stuff like that. And then after that, then it goes in 3,000-hour intervals because it's such a small machine that it is designed to actually run for a longevity of time before the oil breaks down and stuff like that. The only other thing that's you have to really worry about is the tracks. That's just like our Bobcat down there. Our tracks, after so much being on the road and stuff, they do loosen up. We can tighten them up on hand. This machine here has nylon bushings inside the gears. So nylon bushings normally last for the salesman that I talked to. He said that normally they get anywhere between 5 to 6 years out of the nylon bushings before it needs to be replaced. And I told him what we're going to be doing with it. So he said you should get a little bit more life out of it because you're not going through stone all the time. You're not turning in heavy mud and stuff like that. So that's what really wears out on that machine. But other than that, it's a 24 horsepower Kubota diesel. We've had experience with them and they run great. We haven't had any serious issues with them. So that's why I picked the diesel because we've had issues with the gas one when we rented it that it actually overheated out in the marsh from the frag getting into the fan and stuff like that. So it lost power. It just didn't, we have to stop periodically and stuff like that. So
And will you be able to do the maintenance in-house?
yes, we will be able to do everything on the oil changes and stuff like that. But for the first, for the initial break-in period, and he's going to work out into the deal if we buy it, that the first initial break-in period, they'll do the servicing on it. And then the next one, we would only probably have to pay for somebody to come out and take care of the machine to service it. And then after that, we would take care of all the maintenance after that.
Kenny, I have a follow-up question. When you move this piece of equipment the dingo, from your yard to the site where you're going to use it, how do you transport it?
We have a Kruger trailer, equipment trailer that we load it up on and we strap it down and everything and we tow it behind our dump truck. So
Okay.
normally what we do is when we have, take for instance, when we do the marsh and stuff,
Right.
we have the Bobcat with the bush hog on the front of it, and then we're able to put this machine on the back end of the trailer.
Okay.
And tow it,
So
tow
we're
it
not
wherever
talking
we're
about needing to buy another trailer
No,
or anything,
no.
ancillary equipment?
Yep, we have a smaller trailer too that we bought recently, a couple years ago, that would actually, this machine would fit on.
Okay.
Too, so.
So I had a question, so, have you looked at different options like lease or aftermarket options?
Well, I looked into it. The problem is with these machines is leasing them, they really don't have an option for that. Now, you can buy different ones, but this one here is used in a lot of your big construction sites. They're used all over the place and stuff like that. And the other reason why I went with Vermeer was because they're actually on Sourcewell contract.
So this is
Everybody
a
else-
Vermeer product?
Yeah, there's a called Ditch Witch
Yeah.
and Kubota. Neither one of them are on state or Sourcewell contracts.
Okay, so the price you quoted is actually through that?
Through Sourcewell,
That
yes.
source one. Okay. May I ask another question, please? And this might be directed towards the finance side of the operation here. Does the state offer any kind of grants in the form of, since the Phragmite is a state problem, is there any kind of financing or grant that's available from the state?
No, not that I'm aware of. Usually we can purchase items if they are transportation related, but this particular equipment, I don't see how we can tie it to transportation, pedestrian safety, any way of that. This equipment is budgeted in the transfer tax fund at $50,000. I know Kenny had mentioned the price of 41, so we could adjust that down, but
And
it is in there.
you've also got, we're going to get a snow blade, so.
Yeah, and then the other thing is too, is we have to look at, is when I got this quote, he did say you might have to look at inflation.
Sure.
So the price might change a little bit because of the cost of steel. That's
Right.
the biggest thing.
When is delivery? If you order today, when would delivery
He
be?
said if I order it today, he said I could probably see it in 2 to 3 weeks. Because
Oh.
normally they keep them on hand.
That's
So they're not
readily available.
manufacturing?
Yeah, so
so it's-
these machines here, Vermeer is actually still keeping up on them because it's in such a high demand. He said normally this one here he has on hand, so it would just take a little bit to get all the other attachments with it. And he said it could be 3 weeks to a month.
Sure.
Possibly.
That's reasonable, 30
Yeah,
days.
So it all depends on where he's at with having all the attachments, because he said he's not going to deliver it
Well,
just
to
with
fit
the
into the
bucket.
summer
He would
schedule.
rather deliver it all as one package,
Right.
so.
And Ellen Lorraine, are you, our total rental lease, well, it was not a lease last year, it was a rental. Our rental cost for using this equipment last year was several $1,000s?
I would say 1,000 to 1,500, I believe, but I would have to double check.
Okay,
Get back with you.
let's get that number, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Ken.
Thank you very much, Kenny.
Looks like it will be a good addition to the other equipment you have.
Yes.
Thank you.
And next thing on our list, as you can see up in there,
Can you get a little closer to the mic? Sorry.
sorry. Well, I didn't want to yell either.
This is going to be a praise thing.
You get yelled at all the time.
Yeah. I didn't want to be one of those. Now, as you can see up there on the screen, the next thing we're asking for is our new tractor, Kubota. What we're doing now is our older tractor that we have now is falling apart. That'll be sold, we'll get rid of it. And if you look at it, this one's coming without a bucket, because we have enough equipment now with a bucket. We have a smaller tractor that already has a bucket on it. This majority of the time would be used for our beach rake. And we spend a lot of time on the beach rake. We'll be starting to go up on the beach in March, and we go all month trying to clean it up, prepping it for the summer. We go all summer, 3 days a week. And that's why we want this type. That way nothing in the front. It'll be attached to our beach rake. And I think, yeah, the price is on there. Any questions with that?
Yeah, what is the price?
The price is 51, right?
Yes.
This is what we're going with, 51.
Is this a diesel?
51,683 and 78 cents.
Okay. Is this a diesel engine?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you guys keep a diesel on site there, like in a tank? Or,
Yes.
Yeah, we have diesel and gas there, yes.
Okay.
How old is the old tractor?
It is, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's a 2005? Yes, 2005.
So it's 17 years old.
Yes, and the problem is with the old tractor that we have now, it's starting to fall apart from being out on the beach all the time. And I tried to get parts for it, and to have parts and stuff like that, we're gonna spend more money in it than the tractor's actually worth. Today, take for instance, I actually had the guys remove the bucket off the front of it because the bucket is starting to seep down and it's causing a safety hazard driving down the road. They have to constantly lift it up and everything like that.
That's a hydraulic problem.
Yes.
But the bucket itself is not rusted out, it's in,
Yes, the bucket is rusted out. We've already done repairs on it once, and that was to put new metal inside the bucket and on the backside. And it wasn't done to the best of our ability, but we got it done to be able to still use it.
okay, well, I know when Rick was speaking, he said that this proposed purchase would not include a bucket.
Yes.
Do we in fact really need to have a bucket for this? I mean, how soon is the one that's been repaired how much longer will that last, do you think?
Well, the tractor itself, we could probably go a little bit longer with it. I mean, we might be able to get, and if we were able to get this tractor, we could probably wait until this tractor came in delivery. But we don't need the bucket on this one because we have we have another tractor that has a bucket on it. We have our Bobcat that has a bucket, and our loader.
And those are interchangeable?
Yeah. So we don't need another tractor in use to have a bucket on it.
I see.
So the purpose for this tractor will really be beach rake?
Yes. Yes, so it would tow the beach rake, and if we need to go and cut down the paper streets and stuff like that, we can hook a bush hog to it and stuff like that.
Right.
But it wouldn't need the bucket to be in use.
So
Speaking
rear
of the beach rake, what's the condition of the beach rake?
It was brand new. It was
last year's
And it's okay.
Yep, it's in great shape. We got it cleaned off, and we tucked it away in the back corner of the shop. It's been greased and everything, so it's about to come out.
That'll last us a good 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
We'll have to replace parts on it,
Parts,
but
right.
that's as long as the other one lasts.
Yeah, okay.
Is Dickie Bryant taking the old one off your hands?
I don't think he would want that one.
But is there a salvage value to the old?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
What do you think it's worth? Is it worth $3,000 or $4,000?
It's probably, if I know we've been putting stuff on Gov Deals,
Yeah.
so you could probably put it on there and you could probably get over the $5,000 range
Okay.
or more.
He's got the graveyard right
Yeah,
behind.
I mean, I've seen a lot of,
What's the zoning on that?
I've seen a lot of tractors on Gov Deals go for a decent amount that are in shape.
So there's
like
a
that.
salvage value here, which
Yes.
will help offset this $51,000. Okay,
We've been doing well with .gov with the equipment.
terrific. Congratulations, thank you.
So, Dennis Crawford has been the lead on that. We've been doing it for a few years, and it's
Terrific.
been better than taking things to auction.
Good, good.
Okay, anything, all right, what else you got?
That's the two big.
Yep. those are
Okay,
the two
so
big
you don't
ones.
need that other thing up there?
Well, this was another one, but we don't need this one. There was an option of two, and we decided on the Kubota just to.
Okay, good.
If you're gonna buy two, then we'll discuss this one too.
Okay, fine.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Okay, anything else for us?
That's-
What, you've abandoned your pitch for your dump pad site?
No,
It's like a tradition.
no, he has not.
I've already been told that.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because Rick and I did talk about that yesterday, because when we do the Otis Smith parking lot, we need to find a location for the stuff that we've
Right.
put back there. So no, we have not abandoned that, but,
Yes, we have not abandoned that. It was part that we had-
You heard it here.
Well, I think that's a real issue, because
Yes.
as we look to do the Otis Smith parking lot and upgrade that, your sites are going to disappear.
Yes.
right.
And you notice we've had that load there for a long time. So.
Yes, you
Yes,
have had that load,
we
and
have.
it looks like it's getting bigger.
So we got to work on that.
Rick, before you walk away, I do have one more question. Would this new tractor be stored in the big building? I don't know what you call that.
Yes,
but-
yeah, we've been doing good at the new equipment we get. You know, we kind of rotated the older vehicles. We have to leave them outside, but the equipment we keep inside.
Okay.
The skid steer that we're getting with the bucket, that'll be inside.
And
Tractor
this
as well.
tractor
The
too?
tractor will be inside, yes.
Okay, thank
And
you.
we keep the beach rig is inside,
Yeah,
so,
good, thank
Okay.
you.
All the new equipment.
yeah, all the new equipment. So,
You
yeah.
really, that building, when we built it, didn't look like it was ever going to get filled, but obviously it's now
Yes,
at
it is.
capacity or more.
It's running out of room.
Now we have to work on the other side.
I have a
I
garage
know.
like
That's
that at
another
home.
discussion.
That's another
You
discussion.
want to talk about one of the things that is in the operating budget, at the bottom of page 7, we've got the four-post lift.
Right.
Do you want to?
The $20,000 four-post lift?
The new one we want to put in.
New one.
Yeah, so do you want to?
Yes, we had the lift that we had now. It was fixed, but we're looking to add another one, and we want to put it right next to it. And that one came out of the price on,
20,000.
like 20,000, like that.
So this would be in addition to the two posts you have?
Yes,
Right.
the two posts. This one would be the four posts.
Right.
The two posts we got rid of, I'm sorry. The two posts we got rid of, the older one, it was having problems. And when they fixed the one that we had now, they took that one out of there. We want another four post.
So you have two four-posts?
Yes.
No.
And what's the age of,
That's what,
Yeah, okay, sorry.
and what's the age of the one that's there now? Do you have any idea?
It's old.
the one that's there came when Larry was here.
So
we
it's
put it in with
it's
Larry.
at least 12 years.
Over the 12 years. But we put it in with Larry. I
Okay,
did.
so it's at least
Yes.
12 years, okay.
And we fixed it twice. I'm correct.
I have a question about Rick. So Rick, I mean, traditionally it comes in under budget, and looks like, is he likely, given his run rate, to do that again this year? And the reason I'm asking is, there's some of these expenses that we can buy on the 22 budget if he's going to come under budget anyway.
Well, there's some expenses that I think we've incurred in January that you won't see until the next budget.
All right.
One is repairing of the four-post lift, which was about $10,000. And so this would be replacing the two posts with a four-post. So yes, we would have a total of 2 four-post lifts. But there are expenses in January that,
And aren't shown up here.
not yet.
And
But-
you'll also
but
have some
typically-
overtime expenses for the
So
school.
yeah, I assume, but
But typically, if we see that there's funding that's not going to be used
Yeah.
in the current year, we will move up the purchase if we can.
And Rick, that's good on your part. You know, looking at previous years, and you give us a budget and you stay there or under, so I appreciate that. You guys work hard.
I mean, we try, and COVID helped out a little bit.
Yeah, COVID last year helped a lot.
I just being honest.
Well, it didn't help, but
Yeah,
it certainly didn't help in other ways, okay. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, fellas.
I appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
And thank you for the skid steer ahead of time.
Yeah,
Just so we're all clear, nothing's been approved yet.
I'm just throwing it out there.
all right.
All right, so
Valentine's.
Janet, and we can go from Parks and Marina to Lifeguards so that you're not up and down. We don't have to go in this order.
The only exercise I
So,
get is up and down.
So let's get you all on the correct page, which we need to find here.
It's page
12.
No.
12.
Page 12.
Yes. Okay.
Does she
so
also
one
have
from Parks and
lifeguards?
Marina
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Administrator,
Yep.
We'll get to those.
for the
It's all right,
board
hit 'em.
Starting with them first.
I only
Did you get this?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's okay.
We-
oh, I'm
I
sorry.
sent them all.
Did you, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. Everybody has a copy, right? There-
No, I only gave the Parks and Marina.
I got it.
We have copies.
Or, I'm
For the
sorry, I only
lifeguards,
gave
right?
out the lifeguards. I didn't,
How do you get, we only got the lifeguards.
do you have,
Yeah.
let me, if
Here it is.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, we have the line- she doesn't have many line
There's not a lot of
items.
changes to the Park and Marina Administrator. Although a Vespa would be nice so I can run down to the beach to see the lifeguards, just, wink, wink, nod, nod.
How
I'm
about a
thinking a Segway.
How about a beach cruiser?
We just sold 4 bicycles. We could have given you one of those.
Well, after hearing about maintenance in their equipment, I thought I'd just throw that in.
You have equipment envy?
No.
Okay.
With all seriousness, there are not a lot of big changes in the Park and Marina Administrator. And I will only go through those budget lines that did show an increase or a decrease. So it will be very quick as you look at your budgets. So item 5100, which is the personal full-time regular salary for the Park and Marina Administrator, it was an increase of 2.8%. And that was based on the matrix that has been developed. I don't know if you've all seen it, but if not, you will. Item 5120 is the personal bonus, which was taken out for this year. So that is a decrease of 100%. And then the next item is the 5130, which is personal payroll taxes. That showed an increase of 1.36%, and that's based on the increase in the overall salary. And then finally, I said there weren't a lot of big increases, but this one was. 5290 is for conference, seminar, and travel, and that was an increase of 733.33%. We're asking for $2,500. Over the past couple of years, conferences were all virtual. They're starting to go in person. And I prefer that. It's a much better networking opportunity. So that is why we have that increase for that line item.
Okay.
And that's all I have for Park and Marina
Well,
Administration.
you've got a lot of other things for capital projects,
Yeah,
but,
Right.
Yes, I do.
but for Parks and Marina, this,
That's just, yeah.
this is fine, so.
That's the
I don't
easy
think-
part.
or does anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump ahead to your lifeguards.
Oh, do you want to do Marina and City Dock and then lifeguards?
Okay, let's do
or-
Marina and City Dock.
Okay.
What page we have to notify?
That is on page 18.
Thank you.
And again, there are not incredibly huge increases or decreases, but again, I will just go over any decreases or increases. So the first item is 5104, personnel, part-time regular. That was a decrease of 7%.
Right.
So 23,250. Now, that decrease, it's a decrease from the amended budget of last year, but it actually shows an increase in wages from the actual hours, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I can shed some light. So
I know you can.
so based on the matrix, which everyone is aware of, we're proposing some increases. So what I did was took what the actual was, what we actually spent for, as of December 31, and adjusted that by the increase.
Of the
It
matrix.
ended up being a reduction when you look at it compared to the amended budget.
Right.
But it still does reflect an increase.
Okay. And this does reflect the new pay scale that we're, as a baseline of
Yes.
17.
Yes,
And
yes,
so Marcus would fit into that category.
yes. He's just in a
Baseline
different line.
16, isn't it?
16,
16,
Right.
excuse me, 16,
Right.
right.
yes.
And-
So, oh, go ahead.
And so, and Marcus's, his line item is the 5104, correct?
He's
The 5104 is John.
That's John, he's
Yeah.
seasonal.
06.
Okay.
He's the part-time regular.
What is,
Marcus is the seasonal, so he's 5108.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. What is our policy with respect to seasonal appointments, seasonal hires?
In what respect?
Well, is there when we hire someone, is there a extension of employment, the offer, if you will, and that, is there a statement that it will start on such and such a date and end on another date?
Yes.
Okay.
So for the Marina staff, John, the dockmaster, starts April 1st and goes through November 30th,
Which is the season for the docks.
which is, right, the full Marina season.
Right?
And then Marcus comes on because he's in high school and still in the season. He usually comes on for weekends in May and goes through the summer to September, and he's usually done early to mid-October.
Right.
And he generally does the weekends, John,
Right.
pretty much, and when he gets in the summer, they split it, so.
Right.
Is that a long enough season for John, given the fact that boats can arrive at the marina on April 1st? I mean, should he really start March 15th?
Well, last year was really my full season with the
Right.
marina, and I've talked to him about that because he just, he's
Right.
there, he's available, he's not always physically on site, but he's always kind of working and taking calls and whatnot. He said really boats don't come in
Some will.
much
There's
earlier.
a few that will, but most of them won't. You're
Right,
he's absolutely
right.
right.
But he's actually always available, and I'll give you an example with the recent storm.
Right.
In January, we had a call from the Pilots Association if they needed to move their boats over to City Dock from their location. And so, we got the size of the vessels and whatnot, and I was able to get in touch with John, and he said, sure, they'll fit, no problem. And, so he's, even when
Right.
he's off, he's always available.
Because
Yeah,
the future use of City Dock is probably the thing for exactly what you just described,
right,
is what
right,
would bring him back.
Right.
Or bring Marcus back,
yeah.
Because that, being a 400-foot dock,
There's, right, it takes
and we've
large.
had that experience in the past.
Right.
Okay, great,
So-
thank you.
So moving to 5108, the personnel seasonal regular, that is the assistant dockmaster position. That's an increase of 6.67%, and that is due to the hourly wage increase. And then on 5103, the personnel payroll taxes, again, there is a decrease of 2.9%, and that was actually due to the decrease in the part-time regular wages. And then 5244, we had a decrease of 100%. That is the maintenance, building maintenance. So it's basically the net house. And we were budgeting that under the Parks and Marina, or the Marina, but that was moved over to facility maintenance budget. And it's basically cleaning the bathrooms, any repairs to the net house. Tim?
Thank you.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I didn't say anything.
You made eye contact and you grinned.
I didn't say anything.
I had to. And then any repairs to, the washer and dryer, which are available for the marina visitors, so.
How are those things holding up? I mean, I know we've talked about the bathrooms needing some updating and because of the stainless steel and all that, but the washer and dryer is now like 12 years old. Is that holding up well? Is it even used? I don't know.
Yeah, they do get used. There were no problems with
Great.
them,
Okay.
last year. Certainly something that John and I will keep an eye on this year and see if
All
we
right.
need to make
And
some
I-
replacements. But it's a tough environment down there, as you
It
all
is a
know.
tough environment, and
Yeah.
they could go underwater,
Right.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, last year when we did the budget, one of the issues was what I think is, if I remember correctly, it's called it's a pump, a sump pump or
Yes.
whatever.
It's the pump out station.
Pump out,
Yep.
thank you. And that was repaired, correct?
Yes,
And it's fully operational now?
it is.
Right. And
Yes.
so we don't expect any repairs to that
Well,
this year?
It's still, I mean, it's an older piece of equipment, and we did troubleshooting. The thing that we actually did was we put a new switch on the outside, and that seemed to work very well. It doesn't get a lot of use.
Correct.
Because most of the vessels down there are City of Lewis seasonal slip owners. They're not
And they're using-
necessarily people coming in from,
Right.
travel along the coast, so.
They're using the boat, and they're using the restrooms.
Right, right.
Yeah, because I noticed in the income side that there was only one charge. It looked like a $20 charge
Yeah,
for
10
the
or
whole
20.
season.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
Well,
And the larger vessels, actually, that go to City Dock, they can't get to that pump-out station. They have to go over across the canal.
There are 3
So-
other spots they can get pumped out.
Right.
On the canal before they get to the Roosevelt Inlet.
Right.
The Yacht Club has one. I think theirs is now restricted only to members.
Oh, okay.
But JB has one.
Right, right.
And Pilot Marina has one.
So we'll continue to monitor that, but
Okay. Janet, is the 100% of the net house is no longer in your wheelhouse, is that correct?
no, it is. I mean, the dockmaster's office is there.
Okay.
The Friends of Canal Front Park operate out of there.
Right.
And I do the reservations for City of Lewis not-for-profits that want to use that space for meetings.
And are you responsible for the maintenance of that building?
Really, if I see something, I would consult with the facilities maintenance department.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So if I have a question or a need, I should address it to that person, not to you. Is that correct?
I think either one is fine. We work very closely together.
Okay.
If Allison sees something, she'll shoot me an email and let me know, and she'll schedule it if I see
Okay.
something. So we're talking all the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'll wait till you're done,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because you might say,
Yeah,
you might answer my question.
No, I might, and I might not. So the next item is 5248, which was maintenance of the grounds. That showed a 27.50% increase. And this was due to improvements that were recommended by GMB on their dock survey. They had recommended, they made a lot of recommendations, and what we did was John and I sat down and we looked at those that were most critical. And so there is where the gangways hit the docks at the marina. There's concern that with the rise and lowering of the tide, it wears down the planks underneath.
Yeah, it really looks bad.
So they're recommending putting like an aluminum base underneath there so that then the planks won't be having that wear and tear. So that was the main issue for that.
So that comes under maintenance grounds, is that correct? 5248?
But it's really having to do with the ramp.
The-
It's
yeah,
really having
yeah,
to do with the ramp,
right.
the gangway to the docks.
Right, right.
So it's not the walkway or the decking.
No.
It's
It's
the
just, right.
ramp going
Right,
down.
it's
to
just the gangway and the actual dock where the boats come up. It's not the boardwalk
No.
that's in the park. It's
It's
not
as you
that.
enter it.
Right. It's
As you go down.
As you go down
to
on
the
that.
docks. Right,
Right.
right. And it's not, the city dock gangway has a big issue, and I think that
And that's
is
not in
another. That's not in here. I
And
think
is
that
there a
might have
reason
been
why
in the
that's not in
capital.
here?
Pardon?
But it's on,
5490
she
is there,
she didn't get there yet.
Is it?
No, it isn't, that's
Oh, that's
dredging.
right, you're right, yep.
That's
So-
dredging.
No.
The whole block.
5490.
Oh, I'm sorry,
all the way
I
up
thought
bottom,
you
it's
said
25.
52, I apologize.
Yeah, right. There it is.
So
Oh, that's
that-
miscellaneous?
No, it's under,
Well, no,
Yeah,
but if you look at the bottom, we always spell out.
it's under the dock
the
repair.
miscellaneous.
Okay, so it's spelled there.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that I had Precision Marine come in and take a look at it, and it's kind of a tricky project because
Yep.
it's going to require a very large crane to lift the gangway. It has to go over a very large crepe myrtle. We're going to have to remove a couple of bushes along the parking
Right.
lot. And they have to lay down, the planks. So they'll have to lift it up, hold it with the crane, and then get in there and do the repair, and then replace some boards, and then reconnect. And that has to be done before the season.
So it really has to be done in this year's budget.
Yeah.
So we still have to do that before the end of, if at all
Right.
possible, before the end of March.
Is that contractor available to execute that quickly?
It took a long time to get the estimate, if that's any indication. And I called several marine companies in Sussex County, and Precision was the only one that works up here.
Right.
Everybody else is southern Sussex County.
Can you reach out to them and see if it's something that they could do?
To do this year, like in March?
Right.
Okay.
Well, is this, so this $20,000 expense, that includes the crane rental, correct?
It's all inclusive.
It's all
yep.
inclusive, and that's all going through this marine company, correct?
Yes.
Huh. All right. All right. Okay.
For other reasons, I have spoken to Rob this week,
Oh.
and he's got a real problem getting equipment through the canal right now. Everything you're talking is land-based.
Right.
But he can't get equipment through because of the railroad bridge.
Oh.
Well, they have a crane there, maybe we could borrow that while we do
You want
this.
to move a 900-ton crane. But anyway, he was telling me that he's
Sublease it.
trying to work his way up here, but he can't get through with anything that requires water navigation because of all
Because
the
of the-
work that's going on at the
Okay.
the
So
railroad.
Maybe that
bridge.
frees up some time.
Yeah, it might be, he might be able to do some land-based stuff, but he's trying to do some other work here for other
Okay.
people, and he's having a hard time getting here.
All right. I'll give
Hey.
him a call today.
Janet, the remedial work that would be done at the city dock, and I'm familiar with the problem that we have there because I was over there and looked at it myself, and I met with John and we went there. Is the solution something that is this a solution that G&B has put forward, or is this a solution that the company has suggested?
So it was identified in the gangway at City Dock was identified as an issue in the GMB survey.
Right.
But it was Rob from
Precision Marine.
Marine.
Yeah.
Let me untie my tongue. That gave the estimate and what needed to be done to get set up on site. And
Okay, and where I'm going with this question is, I can't be polite about this, I'm just going to be very direct about it, is that, do we know who did the installation originally, that original gangplank installation?
Been there a long time.
yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
It's more than,
Well,
it's more than 17 years old.
Well, chances are it's the same contractor who we're now hiring to do it again,
I'm
if
not
he's the
sure
only
about
player. And so,
I can't say for
Right.
certain.
Right.
I can't. I mean, I can try and do some research on it, but I can't say for certain. But as I said, the opportunities to, go out to a bid are really, aren't there, because I called, I think, 3 other marine companies, and they're
Yeah, did you
they're not.
talk to Clark Droney? Okay, Clark, it couldn't do it
Yep.
either.
and did you include a search for a contractor into New Jersey?
I did not, no.
Okay.
the mobilization costs from New Jersey.
Are you, have you gone through all your wish list then? Because the one that didn't come up was John, when we met with John, was he mentioned maybe putting in some cameras, and this had been brought up before, so I don't know if
Right.
it's just an issue of they ultimately aren't needed, or is it budget?
on my
trying to
list.
cut-
Council previously had said no.
Yeah.
So
Was it for security reasons?
It was,
Yeah.
Security
it was
camera.
raised by the dock master. It came
Again,
to city
yeah, this-
council last year, and city council at that point said no. So
I
it
think
hasn't come back
I
up.
think it was positioned to us previously that his desire for the camera was to keep secure of the money portion. I think for me, the reason for the camera may just be for safety for the vessels, or, you know, keeping an eye on what's down there. So I think the value of maybe proposition, I don't know how much they even cost.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
it depends on cost.
Well, the question is, are you going to survey, are you going to scan both the city dock and?
Exactly. That's what I'd like to know is, you know, what is if
I
it's
mean-
just for a purpose of
What's the
honing in
capability
on a money box, then yeah, I get it. But if it's overall surveying the entirety of the marina, I think there may be value there.
Well, I think one of the issues is there are times when vessels come in to the city dock and they're not reserved, right? They'll come in overnight
I see.
after. And so what John and Marcus do is first thing when they get into the office, they walk down to city dock and see if anybody's there that wasn't registered already, have the conversation about the, you know, the fee scale and whatnot, and get the paperwork going. This would just, I mean, it would give him the opportunity to say, yes, there is somebody down there and I need to go. But there would also be, you know, quote, eyes on the marina and the dock.
Is it a big enough issue that it would warrant cameras?
I
think probably,
I mean, let's, you know, it's not on here for discussion, so let's,
I know,
you
but
know.
but
yeah.
It was on my list of things to raise also, Andrew. I
Well-
appreciate you raising it, because the other thing that had been
Wait, I
discussed.
gotta get her to answer me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
what?
I was-
Oh.
I was
You
wondering,
go.
is it a big enough issue that it warrants?
I will say that I very much trust John's judgment as the dock master and his years of experience on the water and around marinas. So I would say if it's a concern for him, it's a big enough concern.
So it is a concern for him?
Why?
Is it, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's raised it several times, as Andrew has said.
And
Okay.
doesn't this also tie into the need for Wi-Fi on
Yes.
that? Yes.
Yep.
And so we would need to have an estimate for what that would cost as well, because he has Wi-Fi on the, what do you call the other one? The other dock that he manages, not the city dock, but the marina.
The marina.
Park.
The
Okay.
marina,
Right,
right.
Canal Front Park. That
Right.
marina has Wi-Fi
I
there.
think most people
Correct.
use the
Right.
Union Canal Squares.
Right.
Right.
So we can get updated estimates, right? I mean, we can get the updated costs from Avantech, and, Avantech, when they do that, they determine what the wireless need is.
It's gonna double Janet's budget, then it's probably a non-starter. But if
It
it's
wasn't
minimal,
anything
you
near
know.
that. I thought it was like
Yeah,
12 or $13,000.
Yeah, I think the other thing that it might help with is there's been some issues of theft. But
Yes.
But in reality, upon investigation, we might want to check with the PD just to see what the number of reports they actually had, because I know they always encourage people to call the PD.
Right.
But the other issue is that upon investigation, in most cases, it's because the owner of the equipment that was stolen left it fully exposed and untethered, and, you know, it was kind of an open invitation.
That is exactly the situation that happened last summer. There was somebody in a transient slip for about 3 weeks, and they had bicycles. They were here with their teenage children, and one of the teenagers left his bike up by the building, and it wasn't locked, and it disappeared. They were encouraged to file a police report, and the last time I talked to Chief, they hadn't. So, but
Other marinas have had similar kinds
yeah,
of incidents.
but there are issues. Now, the Overfalls did put up a webcam, and that does provide some sense of, being able to observe what's going on, but it
Yeah.
doesn't,
Yeah.
pride,
Well, it doesn't
the
hone in
level
into-
of security.
Well, it doesn't hone in on our marina.
Right.
So we'll bring back an updated estimate.
Thank you.
If not next week, then as soon
Thank you
as we
very
can get it.
much.
So at the capital projects meeting in January, GMB had other recommendations for improvements to City Dock and Canal Front Park. Those are being shown in the transfer tax fund.
Right.
So just to let you know, like the dock replacement and more of the higher cost stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Okay,
Good.
on to lifeguards?
on to lifeguards, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
So the lifeguards you will find on page 9 of the budget.
Okay.
And this, last year, as I'm sure you know, was the first year with the lifeguards being under the Parks and Marina Administration, so little bit of a learning curve here, because they were still under, I think in last year's budget hearings, they were still under the purview of the police department, so the first item, 5108, is personnel, the seasonal regular. Sorry for the double S's there, I thought I removed that. 94,500 represents a 71.82% increase, and that is related to the hourly wage increase for those staff. They come on duty Memorial Day weekend and go through Labor Day weekend. And I will talk a little bit more about that later in the presentation. The next item is 5110 for the seasonal overtime. That shows an increase of 20%, $600, and that again is due to the hourly wage increase. Payroll taxes, 5110. That's an increase of 69.77% for $7,300. And again, that is related to the hourly wage increase.
It triggers, it just becomes a,
Yeah, it's a snowball. Yeah, and it's a big snowball right now.
I will say, though, that we had a very difficult time recruiting lifeguards
Right.
last year.
We didn't recruit as many as we had budgeted.
We needed 10 lifeguards.
and we had short seasons for several of them.
Yes, so we needed 10, we had 8, including the captain and the lieutenant. Then they're all high school, well, I think there was one in high school and the rest were college, except for the captain. And they left early for school. Some did leave earlier than they needed to get back to school so that they had a little bit of vacation. There was a Saturday in late August where we had to close the beach because we only had 2 lifeguards, a captain and a lifeguard. The lifeguard was the high schooler who had to take his SATs, and running a beach with 1 guard is not recommended. It's just not wise.
So we didn't actually close the beach, we just left it unguarded and
Right.
had signs, and we put it on the website. But, I mean, this was the weekend before Labor Day
Labor Day.
weekend. And we just simply didn't have a choice.
Right.
Well,
So.
you had several of them who left early.
Right.
So other coastal communities have gone to $16 for their seasonal staff. But it's very competitive. It's very difficult to recruit. We recruited in, obviously, the Cape Gazette. We went to the local high schools. I think we went to Del Tech.
Do you have any repeats?
Yes, most of them were lifeguards that were returning, but we still needed additional guards.
What does it look like for this season, this coming season? How's your
We're
recruitment?
just starting to get going with the recruitment. What the captain does, Alicia generally keeps in contact with the patrol throughout the season and kind of gets a gauge on who's interested in returning. And I haven't communicated with her yet, but it was about this time last year that we started working on it.
You do expect her to return? Alicia, is that what her name was?
Yes,
You expect her to come back?
I think she will.
For about
18 years.
Right, so you do expect her back?
Yeah. So, I'm hopeful, but I think we just, it's something that we need to be aware
Well,
of.
at least we'll be competitive.
Right.
Well, right, I mean, so 2 years ago, I think, the state park went to like 15-something an hour.
Right.
And at that point, all of the municipalities had a very difficult time recruiting lifeguards. And lifeguards in a beach environment, very different from pool lifeguards. So, it's...
A different skill set.
Right. And so every town has had the same issues, and every town has significantly increased their lifeguard pay.
Okay.
So I get the numbers big, but I don't know what
Well, you have
choices
to
we
stay
have.
competitive, so.
I do have a question about the lifeguards and our ability to take care of our beaches with, guarded beaches. Does your budget include lifeguards at Roosevelt Inlet Beach?
Well,
She's gonna
I
get to
thought
that.
that you might ask that, Tim, so I do have that.
Good.
After going
I
through
have not had a
what's
chance to look at
already budgeted, I do have that information.
And is that, so is
But the
that,
answer is no, it's not budgeted.
No, it's not in here.
No, it's not.
It's not budgeted.
in this budget, but I have put together information on what that would cost.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay. So item 5352 is supplies and technical equipment. You'll see that decreased over 30%. I'm requesting 2,300. Last year, we purchased new radios, and that was a big increase. So taking that out, we don't need new radios this year, so that's the decrease in that item.
Oh, okay.
Is that realistic? I bet your uniform cost would be that little?
Yeah, they're not, it's
they're
not
small
that
bathing
expensive.
suits?
Well, they all get sweatshirts and tote bags and other things.
Yep.
That sounds very reasonable to me,
Yes.
especially since we have them logoed and everything.
Right,
you know.
yep. Well,
we use grays
Alicia, I
No,
will
think
say,
they use
she's,
Lands End for a lot of it, or-
she's very responsible
Great
with,
coast
she
or
does all the ordering,
Okay,
she does all
great.
of that, and she's very
Alicia's
responsible.
great, she
Yeah,
really is.
She
Yeah.
shops around.
And-
she-
and-
she's very good.
yeah. Last year being the first year that she was under Parks and Marina, I said, hey, if it's not broken, I'm not going to fix it. I'm not looking to change anything, tell me what you need. But she's been doing this for, 18 years, and I think she's been captain for close to 10, I
Oh,
think.
if it ain't
Oh, and
broke.
she's very cognizant of,
She is,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's great.
She is.
Okay.
We had good
we're
communication
lucky to have
last year.
that kind of consistency in lifeguard manager.
Yeah, yep. So the next slide, please, is the proposal for lifeguards at Roosevelt Inlet, and this was brought to me by a council member, Tim.
I see.
As you know, right now, our guarded beaches are Savannah Beach and Johnny Walker Beach, and that leaves the rest of the beach up to Roosevelt Inlet unguarded. Roosevelt Inlet is very busy. As you know, there was a very serious accident a couple of years ago. I'm not sure that if it was guarded, it would have changed an
Right.
outcome.
That accident actually happened in front of the yacht club.
Did it?
Yes.
Yeah. But certainly, worth looking into. So some considerations, next slide, please, thank you. So adding additional guards would require improvements and/or expansion of the guard shack. I know some of you have been down there, it's pretty tight, nothing glamorous, not that they need anything glamorous, but they do need space. So we'd have to have more lockers, and depending on how many guards we have, probably an expansion.
Are you saying in addition to that building? Is that what you're suggesting?
to do modifications on that building, yeah.
To accommodate extra guards.
But you're talking
What-
about at Savannah Beach.
At
Right.
Savannah
Right.
Beach,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Not putting another guard shack
No,
up at the other end.
I understand.
This is for, because that's really their base. They begin and they end their day there. They have
share
their
that
lunch
with-
breaks
They share
there.
that with the meter people.
Right, and it is.
It's got one
they're
restroom.
commingled with the meter staff. There is one restroom in there, and if you've been down, it's well worn.
It's pretty basic.
So supervising guards at a remote location is a consideration. So we have 10 guards, ideally down at Savannah Beach and Johnny Walker Beach between the two. This would be putting 2 to 4 more guards up at Roosevelt Inlet. And then you have that great expanse of beach in between. The range of the radios could be an issue. We just bought new radios last year. I couldn't actually get a figure on the range of the radios, but there is the possibility, if they don't have that range, to go with another type of radio that can give you, it's off, a cell, and it can give you that range. So,
Can I just, as it relates to supervision, again, going back to the point that these are high school and often early college, they do require supervision.
Oh, yes.
And Alicia runs a tight ship. I mean, she's very, if she sees them not watching the water, she'll take care of it. And I think part of the concern is that if you have that, 1.5 mile separation, she won't be able to be on top of some of those things.
I do think we need to recognize that since we have a park commissioner who's responsible for the beaches, Alicia's abilities and her support has gotten much better. And I think she's doing a terrific job.
yeah.
Between what Kay's able to do and what she's able to do, it's much better.
I think they've worked together for a long time, even before
Oh,
the
yeah.
beaches
Yeah,
were.
Kay's a very frequent user of the
Right,
beach.
right. So to Anne Marie's point, and the need to get from Savannah Beach up to Roosevelt Inlet would be via ATV. As you all know, we are losing the beach. One big storm takes out a lot, and particularly at high tide, full moon, we have very little beach. I've heard from maintenance that they have had difficulty getting up and down the beach just to collect the garbage down there. So that is a concern. I also, anecdotally, last summer, Alicia was on the ATV, and she was looking for a child who had wandered off the guarded beach. And the parents came and said, "We can't find Mary Jane." She got on the ATV, she went off the guarded beach, up the unguarded beach, and was greeted with, "Get off our beach, you don't belong here." She said, "I'm looking for a lost child, get off our beach." So, if you're looking at those two remote locations, I think there's perception that that is a private beach or unguarded, so we want to do what we want to do, and we don't want lifeguards there.
And we heard during the public hearing about the public discussion that there was a request for more lifeguards on what you guys just referred to as the private beach. So there's a mixed bag on that.
So, but your proposal here, or this document here with the considerations, this would put guards only at the what I think of possibly the community thinks of as Roosevelt Inlet Beach. Is that correct?
Well,
It's not putting it all the way from Savannah Beach up to Roosevelt,
I have
is it?
2 proposals, actually, at the end of the presentation.
Oh, I'll be quiet.
No, that's okay. No, good question. And I anticipated that.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Killing her
Yeah.
thunder.
So again, going back to, could I have the next slide, please, Melody? Thank you. Going back to,
Janet, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but the ATV, you mentioned that there'd be a need for a second ATV. What kind of expense is that? Is that in
roughly,
here?
it's in there. Yep,
Oh,
it's about
sorry.
15,000.
You just hold tight, it's coming.
Okay. I didn't have time to see this beforehand. That's
Me.
No, that's okay.
None of us
I
did.
won't be taking any more questions until I'm done with my presentation.
all right. Go ahead, Janet.
So if we look at just putting guards at Roosevelt Inlet, we have that expanse of beach that would not be guarded, yet you would have the captain or lieutenant going back up and down the beach. It could give a perception
Yeah.
to beachgoers
Yep.
that it is guarded.
Correct.
And then, behavior accordingly. Concern with one captain or lieutenant running up and back and forth on the beach. If they see a need for a rescue, they would have to respond, and one guard responding to a rescue is not good. So, which is why I have the two proposals for you today. The need for the second ATV, and then we talked about staff recruiting. So as we go forward and look at this, I think, those are all things to take into consideration. Just to give you some ideas, what we'd need, I have cost of lifeguard chairs. They run, anywhere from $1,000 to $1,700. I looked at only recycled plastic chairs. What we have down on Savannah Beach and Johnny Walker Beach are the wooden guard stands. They require maintenance and painting each year. Next slide, please. We would have to budget for radios. The radios that we purchased last year were $427 each. We bought 6. That came up to $25.62. But then we would need a rapid charger, and we would need to do programming and configuration, and that's another about $445. So we would need anywhere from, based on these two scenarios, 2 radios to 10 radios.
Basically doubling your
Right.
staff.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right. Next slide, please.
The only way to avoid having the lifeguards not get involved in what we'll call the public beach is if they rode Cedar Avenue as a
If they what?
community. If they rode Cedar Avenue between, if they didn't go on the beach.
Yeah, but they'd have to go, they'd have to go Cedar because they couldn't go up Bay
Bay,
because
right.
of one way.
No, they'd have to go
Right.
up Cedar. That would be the only way to get our lifeguards not involved.
Not
in
involved
anything
in-
that goes
right.
on
Private.
the resident, is in
The-
the residential neighborhood.
Right, right.
Yeah, right, kayak town.
Well, they do need to be in very good physical shape to be lifeguards. That could be part of the training program.
Swim down.
Right,
It's
Janet?
not Baywatch. Sorry.
I won't even ask how you know about that.
I just gave away my age. The cost of a second ATV, which would be necessary, whether it's just at Roosevelt Inlet or the entire beach section, is about $15,000. The ATV that we currently have was purchased in 2018. It's in good repair. It's stored in like a trailer in the parking lot.
Oh, is that what's in there?
Yeah, yep. And again, because the guard shack is limited, with storage, and so, not that it would go on the guard shack, but they do have other equipment in there,
Sure.
so.
And is that trailer that's over there in the parking lot, that's in place only during the winter time, is that correct? Or is that there year-round?
No, it's there year-round.
So that's taking up quite a few, it's about, what, 6 spaces?
Roughly, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
So next slide, please. Thank you, Melody. So this is kind of hard to see, but these would be the proposed locations for 2 guard chairs at Roosevelt Inlet. And if you look to the right, you can see a little red dot. I'm saying that that's like the approximate location of the furthest guard chair on Savannah Beach. And then on your left would be the 2 for Roosevelt Inlet. Now, I think the original request was having 1 guard chair there. And that will not work, because if there is the need for a rescue, and if you listen to Quest, who's out there, they have, done some assistance with rescues. 2 guards would be going in for the rescue, and then essentially the beach is unguarded. So the other 2 will monitor the beach. So the minimum that we could have there is 4.
And that's 4 at a time. So really, to staff
You need-
4 at a time, you probably need to hire 6.
At least 6, yeah.
Right.
And so,
So, excuse me, Ted, does that mean that we have 4 chairs? We have multipliers
No,
for all that?
there's 2 guards to a chair.
Oh, there are 2 to a chair.
2 guards to a chair.
Okay.
Okay, so usually one's in the chair, one's standing, just, scanning, walking the beach.
Right.
Yeah, so, but there are always 2 guards to a stand.
Janet, let me ask you a question. I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't know the answer to this, but we'll let that be. The question
I
is...
hope I do.
The fact that Roosevelt Inlet is currently and has been an unguarded beach, do we post it as an unguarded beach?
What we do is
Currently, I'm speaking of,
Yeah,
of course.
what we do is we have Savannah Beach and Johnny Walker Beach as the guarded beaches.
Correct.
And we don't address the other beaches.
Correct. We're
Either
silent
way,
there.
we're silent, yes.
What I'm going to raise here is the business of, it's about risk, it's about exposure there. And it seems to me that if we are not, I'm leapfrogging here, but if we are not prepared to absorb these costs that you're proposing, that we need to, at a minimum, incur the expense of putting up signs and making sure it's marked on our GPS maps that that is in fact an unguarded beach and use it at your own risk kind of thing. We need to make that very clear.
That certainly can be done.
Yeah, that's not a big budget
that can
item.
be done
Yeah.
in this budget.
That can certainly be done.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Just speak to our obligation, so if we're charging for parking at the beach, is that sort of what obligates us, for example, to have, is there any
No.
obligation at all to
I mean,
provide guarded beaches?
So, think of it this way. No, there's not. But like, think about the surf fishing beach in the state parks. They're unguarded. So, and they're, people are paying to access the beach. Cape Henlopen State Park, other than that, has certain areas that are unguarded. And then the areas around the bathhouse are guarded. And that's how kind of all the state parks are.
Right.
So I think it's not uncommon to have unguarded areas of the beach.
It's not our responsibility.
Right.
So just because we're providing sort of a parking area and a magnet to go there does not obligate us from a legal
No.
standpoint to provide guarded.
No, but I do agree that
No, I'm with
there's
you.
some benefit
I'm
in
just saying what's our
saying
obligation.
unguarded beach.
Correct.
Yeah, the
We
village-
don't want anything to be interpreted there. I think we should just make
I think
a
the
statement.
I think the Chamber's brochure for Visitor's Guide talks about the guarded beaches being Savannah and Johnny Walker, and is mute on the Roosevelt.
Right, right.
Right, but
I
Which
agree that it's,
we have been
probably
too.
responsible that we maybe should think about this, but it's just the expense-wise right now, like she said, we haven't even the consideration of expanding the locker room.
Oh,
So, there may be something, and I don't know if there's a realistic opportunity, maybe we could partner with, like the yacht club, where you can maybe co-locate. Maybe we subsidize their lifeguards and say, you know, you've got your pool lifeguards, we'll subsidize, and you can maybe guard the beach side, and we'll work
I-
together.
But again, not all pool lifeguards are certified.
Well, I just mean you could have
So
two,
we
just
have
a
to,
place to co-locate them.
right.
Well, that's the
And
way
as
to
far
look
as
at
like
it.
I agree
bathroom
with you.
facilities,
We should
that
have
kind
a
of thing.
conversation
Right.
with the yacht
Well,
club
but
board.
given what we're talking about, I like his idea of just making sure we have signs and things that indicate. I mean,
Right,
that's the least
right,
we
because,
could do.
Maybe we pay for
right,
some.
it is a public parking
Right,
area,
right.
and it's
No,
become
yeah.
very, very
If they're not
popular.
interested.
And that's what really drove the constituent who spoke to me about it was, you know, now that there's so many people using it, why
Right.
are you not also providing guard coverage
Well, I'm
there?
happy to know it's
And
not
that
ours.
was the genesis of
doesn't
that
fall on our
request.
shoulders.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay,
So, looking at cost for Roosevelt Inlet, and this was based on four lifeguards. So that would be $37,800. Overtime, $150, payroll tax, $2,900. The supplies, technical equipment, that would include the guard chairs, buoys, first aid kits, the supplies, uniforms, and then miscellaneous, and of course, an ATV. So the total would be approximately $62,000, sorry.
and of that, essentially 45,000 of it is annual
Salary.
cost, and the rest of it is fixed. But you've only calculated for 4 personnel, and we just
Right.
indicated that we need 6.
Six, right.
So
So
this-
that
we
would,
need to-
that would go up, and I can
No,
make
that's
that
okay, I don't
adjustment.
think you
No,
need
we
to. I
can-
think we
Yeah.
all can do that math pretty
Right.
easily.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next slide would be an assessment of guarding the entire section from Savannah Beach to Roosevelt Inlet. And that has 10 guard chairs and 2 lifeguards to each chair. Yep. So, next slide. That personnel cost, we're basically doubling our current staff, would be 94,000, OT 600, payroll tax 7,300. Again, the supplies and technical equipment are the cost of the chairs, buoys, first aid.
Sure.
And then uniforms, miscellaneous, in the ATV at 15,000 for 141,000.
I'm sorry, Janet, this is for the entire Lewisburg.
For Savannah Beach, all the way up, the end of Savannah, all the way up to Roosevelt Inlet.
So it includes the Roosevelt Inlet
Yes.
costs?
Right.
So
Yep.
this page would be rolled into that, correct? This cost?
No, we did two separate.
But it doesn't include Johnny Walker
Last
Beach?
page would be if you did everything.
Johnny Walker
That's what I'm saying.
and Savannah
It
Beach
includes
are
Roosevelt
already
Inlet.
guarded.
Okay,
So
so that,
this is
Costs
just a
are rolled into
proposal to do
That's
what's
what
currently not
so
guarded.
this would be
That's
in
what I just wanted to
addition?
show.
Yes.
Okay, this is, okay, got it.
So this would be in addition to the lifeguards that I talked
Got it.
about at the beginning of the presentation.
Yep, okay.
Including,
But that might be an underestimate of the lifeguards, because if you have 10 chairs, don't you need 20 at a time?
Yes,
So,
yeah.
We can't.
You're nowhere near here.
No.
This actually is.
Is
more than
under-
20 teenagers?
right? But
You're
but
talking about
I-
20 plus 10.
chairs they can borrow.
But also back to your earlier point, and I think, you know, Andrew and Khalil, you certainly spend plenty of time out there. I think there are a lot of people in the community who would not welcome the beaches to be guarded.
Well, and frankly, like occasionally there's a need for it, but at the end of the day, there's the frequency of the sort of accidents that happen.
Right.
You know, it's just, I don't see it.
And so you, basically, if, using the idea that we've just been talking about, you'd need 20 people to
20,
do the
right.
entire beach, plus the 10 we're already trying to hire.
Correct.
So you're looking at a lifeguard beach, a lifeguard on the
30.
beach, a 30.
We
Right.
can't even get, how many?
10,
And you're having a hard time, last year you got 8.
correct.
So, I mean, just the task of finding the personnel to staff it.
Correct.
Let alone trying to manage 30 people, 30 teenagers.
Right.
Not just people, teenagers.
That's different.
You
Yeah.
manage.
There's a difference, right?
Well, and you
I
would
can testify to
likely need another lieutenant.
Yeah, exactly. a
You would
supervisor.
need another lieutenant.
Oh, you would
Right.
absolutely need another.
No,
And,
this
and
is-
even going back to the Roosevelt Inlet site, you wouldn't want to put inexperienced lifeguards down there.
Right.
You would want them down at Savannah or Johnny Walker, where there's a little bit more support from the other experienced lifeguards and the captain.
I think if you had 10, if you just did Roosevelt Inlet and our Savannah Beach and Johnny Walker Beach, Alicia would have to have an assistant.
Supervision for sure.
Lieutenant.
To give herself kind of a break. And try to, I mean, on the 4th of July, they'd both be on duty, but on any given Saturday, maybe she'd have a day off and
Right.
the assistant would
Right.
manage. But I mean, that's, so the
It's,
expenses.
it's a big ticket. It is a
Big,
big
big
ticket. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Janet.
Oh,
Thanks for the
welcome.
work in
Yeah,
looking and studying that.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. Appreciate it.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
All right. So you're feeling like the Maytag repairman back there?
Just waiting.
Thank you for waiting, Janelle.
Oh, not a problem. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, what page are we on?
We are on page 14,
Thank you.
and then we're going to back up and go to 13.
Right, okay.
Okay,
But we're going to start with 14. Let me know when everybody's there, and then we can get
Okay.
started.
okay.
All right. I think we're there.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. You good?
Yep, yep, yep.
So the really big item, which is an increase of 233%, is the consulting fee.
Right.
That line. And what that really is that includes the 5-year comp plan review that we're hoping to have the consultant on board.
Would you give me the account number because I don't have a ruler to
5266.
follow it
It's
across?
5266.
Thank
It's
you.
the 4th line up from the bottom.
Use your row.
Thanks.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
So that's really the big change is,
Right.
I guess one question I have is there, as of the end of December, we had spent about 20,000 and that's Tom,
that is
right?
Tom.
So are we expecting projects where we're using Tom or,
So yes, there's still the.
Okay.
Again, I know there's some things being talked about potentially, because you put in the last meeting a potential planner, then we wouldn't need Tom.
Right.
But unless that happens, we will
Right.
still need Tom for some assistance with
Okay.
certain things. Some of that in that line item, actually, I think we talked, should be from the Planning Commission
right?
line item for consulting services, because he's working on both some things for the planning department and some things for the planning commission. So it looks like I'm a little over budget, but I'm not, because it's just how we, Ellen, Lorraine and I did talk that some of that actually does go to the planning commission budget.
Okay.
And that actually is also shown in the decrease in the planning commission budget, which I know we're not getting into today, but that's where they've got some consulting funds, but we're going to be moving that for the comprehensive plan, because that's more of a planning department, bigger picture consulting for the 5-year, not just specifically for the planning commission, because that involves both mayor and council and the planning commission. So that's the real significant change is for that consulting services. There is an increase in the personnel budget in line 5100, which is the first line item.
We don't need to talk about that.
No, I didn't think we would.
won't get
'cause
there.
That's just,
That's a separate conversation.
yep. So really, right now, the big change is there, and I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
I think we all understand, we've had a couple of conversations about the 5-year update, and I know Anne Marie's been looking at getting contracts in for
Actually,
proposals.
Janelle's been, we've got,
We're down to 2.
we've narrowed down from, we had 3 submitted, we have 2, and Janelle's working on finishing up the vetting on those two.
Okay.
May I ask a question about
Absolutely.
this consultation or consultancy for the comp plan? What have you laid out to be the expectations, the assignment for that consultant?
So the RFP included a scope of work that included both a public meeting up front, public hearings, both the Planning Commission and Mayor and Council, going through the plus process, meeting with the Planning Commission several times to get, because again, you've already established what the key topics are, so we're going to focus on those key topics, and that was from the joint workshop the Commission and the Council had, and then working on those items, looking at making changes to the recommendations, and then getting it through a revised appendix to take back to the state for review and approval. And again, it does include work with a couple meetings with Mayor and Council, and then the public hearing, so we can get that moving forward.
So it's public meetings for the public, in addition, of course, to meetings with us where we would be present in those public meetings as well?
Correct. Yeah, the
correct?
first thing is a public workshop to see where the public are with to get their input on the criteria, the categories that have been identified as needing to be looked at, that need to, the more significant ones, which was the housing, the environmental, the annexations,
Historic preservation.
the historic preservation. I just don't have them all memorized because there's a lot of items.
That's okay.
So we were going to focus on those, get comments back from that, and then go back to the Planning Commission, go, okay, this is what you guys and Mayor and Council said, and this is what the public said, let's start drafting some new recommendations. So there's a couple meetings for that. We are on a tight time frame because this has to be adopted and reviewed and approved by the state by October. So we're gonna
Push
do our
along.
best to keep it moving, and then we'll get a recommendation from Planning Commission. It'll come to Mayor and Council, meeting with Council, public hearing. Hopefully we'll have a finalization, and then we can take it through the state.
I think we,
So in your RFP, did you set out a requirement of certain type of planner who you are looking for?
Yes, we required that they be a certified planner, so an AICP.
Uh-huh.
So that was, and everybody who submitted had planners who have an AICP on their teams.
Okay. And are these individuals who have responded to the RFPs, or are these
These are firms.
These are firms.
We had 3 firms provide a response to the RFP, and they provided documentation about projects they've worked on, how they're planning to do the scope of the work, the timeline, to show that they can actually get it done on the time frame that we need, because it is a tight time frame. And they provided background on the personnel that would be working on the projects.
And where would this consultant work? Would they be here in this building?
No, they would be in their firm, and then they would be, come to meetings as needed,
Uh-huh.
to, again, doing the public workshop, and then they would be working with me to work on anything that, to address any of the needs, and I can't think of the word, so we can get together in the coordination for the project.
right.
Thank you.
And they're responsible for the final deliverable?
Yes, they are.
Obviously, come through
Oh,
the
it'll go,
process.
yeah, I mean,
Basically, it's
they're
a
going to
7
write the plan, and it'll go through public hearings before the Planning Commission and before you, and then a final,
Horrendous task.
It's a
As
7-month,
final.
it's a 7-month timeframe,
and it's
basically.
and it's going to be tight, and
Wow.
it's going to be very, we're gonna move forward and get this done.
Right, okay.
Yep.
And what is the amount that we're suggesting from the responses you've received? What are we looking at as far as a cost?
The 2 that we're narrowing down to are both under $25,000, but they're very close to $25,000.
Barely under 25.
Okay.
They're like
I think
24.6 and 24.
there yet.
I mean, like,
One was 24.8 and one,
right.
right.
I mean,
So
they were
they're-
within $200 of each other, so I'm nitpicking through
Right, I
the
understand.
proposals to make
But-
sure that they
but-
work.
The budget document in front of us, of course, says 50K,
But
and I
that-
just wanted to.
But that was why I asked about Tom.
Yes,
Right,
so
right.
there is still some need for, so
Oh,
that will take
yeah.
care of that, but then we do have Tom, who has been helping us through on different projects, so he's been actually taking the lead
This
on
is
doing a
both
lot
of
of
those.
some of the subcommittee, especially for the subdivision code subcommittee. He's been doing a lot of that work to help us out on certain projects,
And his
so.
billables are running that high a year?
Not that high.
Well, so as of the end of December, he was at 20,835.
Right.
Correct.
So you still got 3 months to go.
Right.
You got a quarter
Right,
yet to
and,
go.
and we just
And
paid a bill
and-
this
and
week,
we-
and and he's putting in a lot of time on the,
Now, and again, this is a big project that, I mean, we're rewriting the subdivision code, so that's a huge project.
And
Some
that's
of the
nearing
oth-
completion.
That is nearing completion, so some other projects are much smaller than that. This one just happens to be a rather large
And
project.
he has put a lot of time into it.
Yes, a lot
And
of
that
people have,
figure
but
is-
yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, the
That
planning
makes
commission
sense.
members have put an immense amount of time into it, but so has Tom.
yes. And that one will be coming to a close hopefully very soon. In previous years, it's been less than that because the projects have just been smaller.
Janelle, I'm going to ask a budget question at this point in time, and it has to do with, I find this 5-year review to be burdensome. And you can't, I know this is a demand that's placed on us. My perception is, my understanding is a demand that's placed on us by the state. Does the state offer any kind of relief to any community to help offset these costs?
They do not. Again, based on what we've heard from both the planning commission and council is there needs to be some significant changes made to the comprehensive plan. Usually, other places in their 5-year review, they will make some minor changes or make no changes at all.
Right.
So we're, the task presented to the department was we need to take a bigger look at this, which is why it's a bigger burden, as you've stated. It's a bigger process
And
because there.
that was driven by us.
That was,
Yes, we
that was
are.
wanted
driven
to
by.
meet the minimum of the state code, we could send a letter saying we reviewed the comprehensive plan and we find it to still be relevant.
But that's not
Right.
where
And I
we
In
are.
the
But-
discussion, we didn't.
Right,
Yes.
where I'm going with this is that if we're at, right now, just for this, not including Tom West, part of this line item, but just this 5-year review, we're at 25K, and we're looking at 5 years from now, we would have to be doing the same, because then we have to.
Oh, it'll be more than.
It'd be
Yeah,
more
it's
than
gonna
that,
be a
because
lot
it's
more
a
than
10-year
that.
rewrite.
Right, exactly.
It's a
Yep.
rewrite every 10 years.
That's right. So
Right.
this is not inconsequential money, the costs that we're bearing.
Correct.
It's also not inconsequential time. When we did the,
Right.
Oh,
when
yeah.
we did the last 10-year rewrite, it took almost 2 years or
Yep.
something.
Yes.
Well, it was the 2015 plan and it
That
was
was
approved
approved
in
in
2017.
At the
And I'm
end of
pretty sure
17.
you-
Right,
You
late.
started working
Yeah.
2013, 2014 to start it.
I was
think
in
it was
those
14.
meetings.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
usually start like a year or two in advance, so you can get
Right.
it moving forward, yes. But again, as I've been directed by council is, it needs some significant changes, so we are going
Well,
to,
we found many things that we've accomplished in that.
Absolutely.
And the demographics, or not the demographics, but the whole surrounding area has changed so dramatically
the
since
land use has
17.
changed,
Land use
population's
and everything.
changed. Lots of things have changed in just 5 years, so,
Yeah.
taking a deep dive at the 5-year review.
Thank you, Janelle.
And continuing to change.
Yes.
Yes, so any other questions on planning and community development?
No.
No.
Okay, now we're gonna go backwards to page 13
Okay.
for the building official expenditures. The big changes here are a decrease in the maintenance for the vehicles. Again, they were newer vehicles last year, so they're gonna require a little less maintenance than before. A decrease in professional consulting services. Right now, we have a couple consultants helping us do inspections and plan review with the intent is to hire a building official who is certified, that can do some of those inspections, so that number will decrease. The big number is in the increase, which is 5290, is the conference, seminar, and travel. That is really for a lot of training. That is going up 400%, from $1,000 to $5,000. We're trying to do some more training, get people to take their ICC test, which means they are then certified to do inspections. We actually have somebody currently now taking a course for fire suppression inspections. So since that's come on board, we need to make sure there's enough training, and they are now capable and get certified to do those trainings, to do those inspections, and especially if we're hiring. We've got 2 positions currently open that they will need to make sure we've gotten that. Mayor,
Yeah.
do you have a question?
Well, I do, because one of the things we had tasked Robin with before he left was getting copies of the International Building Code that the county's thinking about adopting, and
Right.
how does it different? Does this anticipate the training that would be necessary for a building official to get all that training?
Well,
And to
the-
do
so
that,
the-
and do that analysis and bring it forward?
The training that ICC is offering now and the testing that they're doing for the certifications at this point is still under the 2018 code. So with this fiscal year money, we purchased 2018 code books so
Right.
that
But
Joe.
we're not there.
Oh, so you can,
We're not there, but that's what he's training on.
Does this anticipate his having to go to get certified for
Well,
the 18?
he's going to get certified under the 18, but he doesn't have to get recertified under 20.
Okay.
Once he's certified, as long as he keeps his continuing
Okay.
education, he's fine.
I just want to make sure we've got enough in here to
But
cover that.
we did cover, we did include money in the budget to cover the books
Right.
for 2021. So we
Right.
bought the 2018 books in this fiscal year.
And we're buying the
And
21s.
right. And part of this consulting,
but what you're saying is he only has to be certified once.
right,
Right, you
and then
only
just
take-
needs to keep it up.
And then
Okay,
it goes from
okay,
18
right,
up to
yeah.
20.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Right.
we've built enough money into this budget to
We
get
have.
Right.
everybody
understand.
certified,
And-
up to the 18.
Part of that 35,000 in consulting is for the consultant to help work with us on getting the 21 codes adopted.
Okay,
So that,
I'm fine.
I
figured
didn't
you
know if I
probably
had
had,
conveyed all that to you, so I.
No, I knew that, because I knew,
it wasn't transparent from this,
Right.
that we had done all that.
Understood.
And I know we'd provided direction to Robin when he was still with us to do that, but I just want to make sure we built it into the
And
budget.
just, and Janelle had mentioned the NFPA training that Joe's doing.
Right.
Joe is on a very rigorous training program right now.
Sure.
Joe has been taking the IPA classes. Like she said, he's doing the NFPA. He's registered to take the International Residential Code course in May and then the test. So Joe is very much, he's expressed great interest in the training.
and becoming certified so he can do
Good.
Right.
additional
Good.
inspections.
And with that, of course, he should expect a compensation to reflect the kind of certifications that he
And
is
that's-
picking up,
that's-
correct?
That sort of comes along with it.
With the salary matrix,
That will be reflected, that's typically reflected. And I know it looks, that line item looks like it's going down, it's because,
Right.
again,
Realigning.
realigning and, when Robin left and, it just,
Well,
we're
in fact, that-
hiring at the same
It
rate
also
typically.
reflects Henry's departure.
Correct.
Right.
Oh, right, I forgot
Yep.
about that.
I mean,
So-
he
because
hasn't
we
been,
budgeted for the full year for Henry.
Yeah, so-
Because
Is that what the consulting is here?
no.
What's that's a question I had.
Yeah.
the 56,
Actually, and then what's budgeted for the department?
So currently, we have consultants doing commercial inspections because we do not have an inspector who has the certification to do commercial inspections, which means they're doing some of the inspections at the assisted living facility.
Right.
So that is what some of the consulting money
Yeah.
is for.
Won't they
And-
also do the school?
And the
Nah,
school,
well, the
Well,
school,
to-
the
to-
school our guys have been doing.
Okay.
yes.
The school district has an inspector that's on site that's been doing a lot of they provide us the reports, and then our guys go back in and verify everything.
Yes. And then, since Robin has left, we are working with a consulting firm to help do some plan review until we can get, a building official back on board to help to do more plan review.
I didn't know that.
So that is helping to help alleviate the guys having to do some plan review so they can make sure they're getting their inspections completed and staying out in the field.
So that's
You know
in his
what?
consulting figure.
That is what the consulting is
Okay.
for. It's for the
Thank you.
third-party inspections for the commercial sites, and it is for the consulting firm that is helping with the plan review at this time.
Okay, that's in the interim period until we get
Well,
some.
the part that's a little confusing to me is, I understand 5266, line, that number, the professional service consulting. I understand that and the explanation that you've offered. But what I'm a little confused about is I think I've also heard you say that there will be additional people or person hired for inspection work. Did I understand that correctly?
Well, again, we're down a code enforcement officer and a building official, so we are currently at, we actually, hopefully in the next couple weeks, we'll be doing interviews for those positions, so we will have
I understand, but
staff
those,
back on full staff.
those slots are currently empty, but they are funded, correct?
Correct.
Right. And my question is, are we also adding another person? Did I hear you say
No.
that? There's not going to be another inspector hired to do
No, the
pick up?
the anticipation is that the inspectors will become certified
Uh-huh.
with like Joe is getting ready, is
Right.
studying for his IRC so he can do the residential inspections, and that we can get a building official who will be certified in the
Perfect.
ICC as well, so they can do both residential and commercial.
Perfect.
So they need both certifications.
Right.
All of this is going on when the building official's office probably has never been any more busy than it is. right?
Correct.
Right.
They are definitely
And
busy,
they-
so we are
Where's your
trying to.
consultants?
The consultant that is on board that's doing the plan review for us employs, I think, 3 master code professionals. So, and they have, pardon?
Who's the consultant?
It's Dave,
CSI is the name of the
right,
consultant.
but Dave Naples.
Yes.
When Rehoboth had a long period of time where they did not have a building official because of, the challenges in hiring somebody in that type of position, and they used Dave Naples, Dewey Beach has used Dave, Fenwick Island has used Dave, and they all
Right.
spoke very highly of him.
Wonderful that they were
So,
able to go on board.
And what is that consultancy costing us for that firm?
it's an hourly,
It's an hourly.
so we pay 90 an hour.
I see. And about how many hours do you estimate that company will have to provide services?
That
So
is
again, it all depends on the plans that are coming in. The building officials are still reviewing some of the fence permits, the roof permits, some of the smaller accessory. The CSI is doing is reviewing the larger new construction for houses, the new major new development, the new additions, sorry, I'm getting my planning and my building confused. So they're looking at the large additions, the large accessory structures, the new construction for the residential, that is, and any new commercial permits, that's what CSI is reviewing. In-house, we're still doing some of the decks and the fences and the roofs. So typically, they're doing the plan reviews that take a little bit more time.
They're actually also starting next week, they're going to be doing our residential fire
Fire.
suppression reviews.
Oh, are they?
So that's why that's on Monday's agenda for the fee.
Yes, because they actually
They're
do some of
certified
the
to do
review
that.
for the
Right.
state fire marshal,
right.
so.
So the funny thing is, right now, people are going to the state fire marshal's office, submitting their plans, and they're outsourcing it to Dave Naples. And so now they'll come to us and
So
And
And
then
we're
we'll outsource.
sending it to the same
Right.
vendor.
correct.
So is there?
So
is there-
pay-
There's a
is
time
savings
savings.
realized?
Yes, there has
Because
to
we're
be.
using the same inspector?
Yeah.
I'm I'm sure there will be, absolutely,
time
because
savings.
they're going to do the full building
But
plan.
how about the
Should be a
cost,
billable hours.
is there a savings
Yeah.
also for us or for?
No, I think there
No,
is,
there
Yeah.
is, there
Fire
is.
There will
marshal
be.
and stamp it for the
because
city.
they'll be doing it all.
There'll be one
Yeah, they're not gonna
review,
stamp
and
it
it'll
for
be
the fire
distributed
marshal
to the
anymore, they're
two
just gonna,
different
they're gonna
agencies.
review it on behalf of the city, so
Rather
it's
than
one
paying it out.
review
Oh, it
that
is.
then includes all of our
That makes sense.
requirements. So now the applicant no longer has to go to the Office of State and Fire Marshal, they just submit one application, it gets reviewed at one time. It's reviewed by the same person.
Is
So-
your experience with this company that they're able to review and process their review, these applications and the plans in a timely manner?
Yes, they said at the most, it'll be like 96 hours, but they're coming back within 48 hours.
Oh,
That's amazing.
And that's for new
Wow.
construction.
What is
And-
your evaluation of their ability to review plans that quickly?
jeez.
It's very good. They provided actually a very nice review letter, because and they will reach out directly. So we had one, the applicant made a submission. It was sent to CSI for review. They did a review letter and then we got copied on the review letter and it went back to the contractor saying, you need to make these changes. So they're directly working with the contractor as well and keeping us involved. So it's very,
great.
it's very nice.
So will the fire suppression review also include commercial properties?
No,
Okay, because those will still
No.
go to the state fire marshal.
yeah, because we don't have
Yeah.
jurisdiction
That's
over
what I
that.
thought.
Right.
We didn't
Okay.
answer.
Okay, so-
Right, so like
because I know
Dutchman's
the fire
Harvest
marshal
is all
can
under the
back
state.
up.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
I've heard from many commercial people who have waited
Right,
a long time for their review, so.
yeah.
Yes.
It's- Anything that's under the state fire prevention regulations is still going to go through the,
Okay.
yes.
So basically what they're doing is the residential.
They're
one-
doing the
Okay,
residential.
that's fine, okay. Great.
Oh, good. Really, really, really.
Are there other questions for Janelle?
No, I'm good, I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Janelle.
much.
Very, very good.
Nice to hear about that company.
Hopefully,
though. Wow.
this business with
Gotta run the minutes,
getting
I'll be right
2 new
back.
building
Okay.
officials will be, helpful and get closed up real quick.
That is the
Because-
hope. So thank
Very
you very much.
Okay, you're gonna, all right, I know Khalil has a hard stop.
Okay.
Because he's got another meeting, so,
Okay.
is your hard stop now?
yeah,
In 2 minutes.
yeah,
Okay, so we're,
yeah.
so we'll pick up, what we didn't get to is finance and city manager's office. We can
Yeah.
pick that up next week.
Right,
Okay.
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 So,
There's a whole week to chew on the city manager's budget.
right. So unless there are any questions from the people who've been attending, I think we are finished. Does
No.
anybody have any questions they want to raise before we close out?
She said no.
Nothing? Okay, thanks, Melody. Okay, hearing none, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Okay, we got a motion from Khalil and a second
Second.
from Carolyn. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye. We are now adjourned.
thank you.
Thank you.
Are we down?
How are you today?
Okay.
I gotta go myself here.
Wait a minute.
You what?
Oh, shit, yeah, I gotta go too. Ooh.
Okay. Can we,
Yeah. I know, that's why I'm waiting.